So right now, I wonder what MAGA voters will be doing right now. Because this information I'm about to spill here, come on, is a lot, right? So they finally found out that Trump made a whole lot of transfer that is worth $1.1 billion to Epstein, right? But before I talk about it, right, I want you to watch these videos, right? So kudos to the creators. Then I'll come back, and then I'll come back with the commentaries. I would like to hear your opinions about it. But MAGAs are fucked up right now.
We have some major news right now. Ron Wyden, a senator, just exposed that the Trump administration has thousands of bank transfers related to Jeffrey Epstein that they are not publicly releasing or investigating. This is stunning news right now. Check this out. This, according to the New York Times, Wyden is saying that the Trump administration has an Epstein file detailing 4,725 wire transfers and almost $1.1 billion flowing through just one of his bank accounts. And then there are hundreds of millions of dollars flowing through some of his other accounts. Now, that's all information that the Trump administration has not released to the public. The Department of Justice has these files. They have not released it to the public, and yet many are wondering why not. Where is this money coming from? Who is this money going to? Was it responsible for any of the criminal activity that Epstein was involved with? There are a lot of questions, and there are still subtle leaks coming out, but this is an issue that's not going away anytime soon, and it's one that the American people deserve transparency on. So I'll continue asking questions. We'll see if we get any more answers. Spread the word and follow along, stay up to date on all the news you need to know about. I'll have much more to come very soon.
Mega, how does it feel to wake up every goddamn morning and look in the mirror from this fucking day on and know that you're fucking stupid? And you know why I can say that? Because your motherfucking president called you fucking stupid. I want to see you spin that. Because I agree with him. You are fucking stupid. And we've been telling you that shit before you put in the fucking office. But y'all don't give a fuck about nothing. But you give a fuck about this now, because ain't no fucking hiding how fucking dumb you motherfuckers look. So you can't get credit for being fucking smart. So let's give you credit for being fucking stupid. For instance, the fucking farmers. For instance, what that tragedy in Texas. For instance, all the shit that's going on and it's not going your way. Like the fucking tariffs. I could go on and on and on. But you kind of get the fucking point. He ain't doing a fucking thing for you motherfuckers now that he got your vote, except calling you fucking stupid. And like I said, I kind of fucking agree with him.
Come here. Y'all come here for a minute. Yeah, you in? Check this out. I just found out that it's being reported, a Democratic congressman, I believe, has reported that it is being revealed that Donald Trump made 4,725 wiring transactions to guess whose bank account. I give you one guess. Exactly. There were transactions amounting to 4,725 wiring transactions from Donald Trump's account to Jeffrey Epstein, totaling over $1.1 billion. And guess what? They weren't the only transactions either. I love the way the congressman put it. He said there are 4,725 new reasons to investigate Trump and Epstein connection. What man you know can't stand somebody but does 4,725 financial transactions to his account? What man you know who don't know this person that they send 4,725 transactions to their account, but they don't know them? Make it make sense. We know it makes sense, don't it? Because see, before life in politics, he had the life of a millionaire and lived it to the fullest. And that's the part he's trying to keep from coming out. Now, I'm going to ask you this. This man who claims he didn't know him, but there are pictures with him everywhere. He's even at the man's wedding. Epstein was at Trump's wedding. They hung out together. There are thousands of pictures of them over the internet, of them together. Not just in the same room. They are in a conversation. They just like everybody else who run up on their friends. Y'all laughing and kicking it and chatting and chitty chat, chat, chat. That's what they're doing. It's not an awkward pause between them. As a matter of fact, in one film, in one video, Donald Trump was all up in Jeffrey Epstein's ear. Whatever he was telling him, he told him something that made Jeffrey bend double over in laughter. Now, that doesn't look like somebody you don't fool with to me. I don't think it looked like that to y'all either. So, Miss Pam Bundy, the woman that's been knowing Trump since she was at least 14 years old, because that's about how old you were in that picture that's going around with your hand on his chest, and y'all sitting up there looking like a couple. What you gonna do about this, boo? Because I bet you and believe that those 4,725 transactions to Epstein's account is in those Epstein files. And because you have a lifelong relationship with this man, it's not implausible to think that somebody would think a person like you will be covering for him. Yeah, you've been knowing him a long time. And over the years, there was some type of loyalty developed. But you won't turn on him. Did y'all know that? That they go way back? Did y'all know that she was also the AG of Florida when Epstein was out there running wild? The whole time. Y'all know that? Yeah, that's the same her that's going to see Maxwell before she go to see Congress. What do you think Donald Trump mouthpiece gonna say? Yeah. Let me give y'all a heads up. Whenever Maxwell wound up in front of Congress, don't be shocked when she say Trump had nothing to do with it. That's going to be her get out of jail free card. Remember, you heard that here. I just want to know what MAGA going to do when they see that Trump released them.
Treasury's Epstein file details, Mr. President, 4,725 wire transfers. Let me repeat that. 4,725 wire transfers, adding up to nearly $1.1 billion flowing in and out of just one of Mr. Epstein's bank accounts. If you ask me, that is more than 4,000 potential lines of investigation right there. Hundreds of millions more flowed through other accounts. That's even a lot more to investigate. The file shows that Mr. Epstein used multiple Russian banks, which are now under sanctions, to process payments related to sex trafficking. A lot of the women and girls he targeted came from Russia, Belarus, Turkey, and elsewhere.
Here's your dumpster fire news headlines. The DOJ has filed motions to unseal testimony related to Epstein and Maxwell cases. Meanwhile, Oregon Senator Ron Wyden said that his investigators saw Epstein evidence at the Treasury. 4,725 wire transfers equaling $1.1 billion that went through just one of Epstein's accounts.
Why didn't he say something?
In other news, Tulsi Gabbard said that the Obama administration was treasonous. She's turning over a 100-page document to the Department of Justice.
So D.C. disinformation and not Russian disinformation.
Next thing, a blast at a L.A. County explosives training facility deleted 3 deputies. One of the possible candidates to take Jerome Powell's place states that the Fed chair should reduce rates in the July meeting. They should be closer to 3% instead of 4.25 to 4.5. In other news, 70 people have been indicted on a Feed the Children fraud scheme. They falsely claimed to be feeding children during the pandemic. An illegal alien pled guilty to repeated non-consensual acts and impregnating his 14-year-old daughter at a Massachusetts immigrant facility. In a document dump yesterday, emails from the DOJ showed targeting parents at school board meetings during the pandemic. Next thing, another senior advisor to President Biden has pleaded the fifth. In Minnesota, 85 autism centers are being investigated for $225 million worth of Medicaid fraud. A transnational organized crime group was busted in Alabama. 50 were arrested. The ringleaders seem to have taken out $225,000 in PPP loans. In the bust, they confiscated meth, nose candy, cash, and weapons. That's all.
Fucking good trouble out here making videos like the rest of us don't have access to Google.
Oh yeah, and by the way, they found 4,800 wire transfers between Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein.
No, they didn't. Like, bro, that's just simply not true. And that's not what that congressman said. All he said was they found 4,800 wire transfers in and out of a Jeffrey Epstein bank account. That dude didn't even mention Trump. Like, you just fucking made that up. Like, dude, I don't know if you saw that screenshot and just fucking created a narrative in your head, or somebody told you that and you just believe them with no research whatsoever. But that's not what the congressman said. Like, seriously, dude, you can just go look up that clip. All that congressman said was that they found 4,800 bank transfers in and out of an Epstein bank account, and it had nothing to do with Donald Trump. Like, there were no transfers to Donald Trump's bank account. There were no transfers to any bank account associated with Donald Trump. There were no transfers from a Donald Trump bank account into Jeffrey Epstein's account. That congressman never said that. So why'd you make that up? Like, here's how we know that you guys have no case whatsoever that Donald Trump was involved with that shit whatsoever. Because if you did, you wouldn't have to make shit up.
Hey, MAGA, even if there's not a full-on list, a little black book, there's bank records. And let me tell you how I know. I was just listening to a senator talk about the wire transfers between Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, which got me thinking about a case that I just heard. I'd heard like snippets of it, and then I went and looked it up. In 2023, the Virgin Islands sued JP Morgan Bank, which is where Jeffrey Epstein held his bank accounts for a very long time. He eventually switched to Deutsche Bank. But in 2023, JP Morgan got sued by the Virgin Islands because transactions that had been happening in Jeffrey Epstein's bank accounts were flagged as associated with sex trafficking. JP Morgan knew they were flagged and continued to let those transactions happen. This was all proved in a court of law, not just a United States court of law, but an international court of law. And the Virgin Islands won. They got $55 million for victim relief. There were tons of transactions, and it's what caused Jeffrey Epstein to actually change his bank accounts. But if you think about it, those transactions have nothing to do with the victims, the survivors. They have to do with the perpetrators. Because who would have been paying Jeffrey Epstein? The perpetrators. They have those records. They have Jeffrey Epstein's bank records. So when they tell us that they don't have a list, they are lying. Because not only can they tell us who have transactions with Jeffrey Epstein, but the bank flags them as sex trafficking. It's also very concerning that Donald Trump had 4,175 wire transfers between him and Jeffrey Epstein. And I bet quite a few of those were flagged.
Senator Ron Wyden, a Democrat, just exposed that the Trump administration is hiding thousands of wire transfers. They have a file on Epstein that contains 4,725 wire transfers that total $1.1 billion. And that's just through one of his bank accounts. There are additionally hundreds of millions through other accounts of his. The Trump administration is hiding this evidence from the public. And this would be hard black and white evidence of who the main people are that are involved in this, money laundering trafficking operation. And it stands to reason that someone who was besties with Epstein for, decades might have been involved in that and probably doesn't want that information leaking to the public, especially since it's black and white. If you received money from him, honey, yeah, I can understand why you want us to change the subject. As much as the Trump administration is desperate for this to go away and for all of us to shut up, it seems like it's just ratcheting up. The public demands the truth about this, and we're not going to rest until we get it.
Some massive breaking news right now. This feels like the Watergate moment where the dam busts open and suddenly the entire scandal becomes uncontrollable. Senator Dick Durbin, the top-ranking Democrat on the Senate Judiciary Committee, which has oversight over the FBI, confirms that back in March, over 1,000 FBI agents were put on round-the-clock duty, 24/7, scrubbing through 100,000 documents and files related to Jeffrey Epstein's trafficking ring, and their sole purpose was to flag any reference to Donald J. Trump. This administration is actively trying to cover his tracks, and it has been found out now that this is going on. I know we live in a 24/7 news cycle. I know that everything is breaking news, and everybody comes on here and says, this is a really huge story. This is the most consequential scandal in American political history, and we just hit the moment that I do believe history will look back on and say Friday, July 18th, 2025 was the day that Donald Trump found out he was doomed.
You want to know one of my favorite Donald Trump moments are? Is when he got on his stage at his fucking rally, and he looked right at his supporters and he said, I don't care about you. I just want your vote. He told you straight to your face exactly what he thought about you. And you guys didn't care. And now that all this Jeffrey Epstein stuff is coming forward and coming out, everybody's throwing a fit because he went on Truth Social and he said, you guys are weaklings. I don't want your support and I don't need your support. And people like Nick Fuentes are freaking out. He already told you. You just didn't believe him. You just didn't take him at his word. He doesn't care about your support. He just wanted to get in that office to avoid going to prison. And now that he's there, he's too busy lining his own pockets, taking everything that's not nailed down, making life easier for the billionaires, and making life more difficult for the average American citizen. When somebody shows you who they are or tells you who they are, believe them. Like, share, follow for more. This is Grim with Get the Rant, and I'll see you all in the next video.
I made a video yesterday about how I thought that Trump was more than just a client of Epstein's, that he was involved in the actual business of trafficking these young girls. And somebody pointed out something to me which I had completely forgotten about, which was that back in the late 80s and early 90s, Donald Trump was incredibly involved with the New York modeling scene. He was good friends with a guy named John Casablancas, who was the head of Elite Modeling, which is a top agency at the time. Elite Modeling had a Look of the Year competition, which Donald Trump was a judge on. And he also provided the venues for it, letting it be hosted at the Plaza Hotel in New York City, which was one of his properties. Now, the girls who competed in this competition were often scouted from areas where they were very naive about the big city, New York. The scouts would look for, in particular, girls who did not have strong family support systems who would protect them and watch out for them. And so they'd bring these girls from, rural parts of the United States and Europe to New York City to compete in this competition, saying that this was their big shot at, making it big in New York City. And they would get to New York City, often without a chaperone, and they'd be feted in front of all of these much older men in their 40s and 50s, and these girls are 14, 15, 16. And they would be given a lot of alcohol and some cases drugs, and the men would, on a regular basis, assault these young girls. And the girls didn't know any better. They thought that they had done something wrong. They thought this was just part of the business. They were scared. They didn't complain because that's why they targeted these girls, right? Because they didn't have parents who were watching out for them and they were too young to know better themselves. And Donald Trump was in the thick of it, going so far as to creating his own modeling agency, which I'm gonna have to make a whole other video about. And so I think it's time we recognize that the Donald Trump-Epstein connection is the tip of the iceberg, and that Donald Trump was probably involved in trafficking girls in some way, shape, or form for decades.
Well, it looks like we may know why these Epstein files are not coming out. Senator Ron Wyden has just stated that Trump has the files of over 4,700 transactions from banks accumulating to $1.1 billion of Epstein's money. And that's just one bank, y'all. There are other banks. Now, Senator Ron Wyden is a part of the Finance Committee. He says he's been digging into Epstein's financial network for the past 3 years. They have found 4 big banks that have flagged more than $1.5 billion in transactions. Now, these bank accounts were used to buy and sell artwork for Epstein's rich friends. It also paid him a fee by wealthy individuals and payments to numerous women. Now, the 4 banks included JP Morgan, Bank of America, Bank of New York, Mellon, and I think this is like a Russian bank. Deutsche Bank? I don't know how to say that shit. They said they regretted their historical connection to Jeffrey Epstein, but everybody else declined to say shit. Now, these bank transactions are crucial, y'all. If they can get their hands on this bank transaction, they can see everybody that Epstein paid, or everybody that paid Epstein. You can see where these transactions came from and went to. Baby, Epstein was sending money to Russia. Over $100 million worth transactions to Russia. Now, Representative Ron Wyden has been pressuring Pam Bodie to release those goddamn transactions. They want the reports and all the wealthy individuals attached to those reports. These bank transactions could blow up Jeffrey's undercover operation in Florida, Manhattan, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. I'm guessing Trump may be a part of those transactions. I wonder how many transactions he actually did. And baby, it's got to be other wealthy individuals that are attached to this as well that don't want this to come out. I wonder if they're all friends.
I think something's being missed about Donald Trump suing the Wall Street Journal over the letter they published from him to Epstein. Him suing confirms that the implications of the content of those messages is what we think the content of those messages is. In other words, Donald Trump could have said, yeah, I was friends with Epstein 20-some years ago. Everybody knows that. There's pictures, video of us back then. I had no idea about what he was doing. No, I didn't know that at all. We were just buddies. We'd collect these fancy chocolates and these like rare baseball cards, the way rich people do. Funny. Sometimes we bid on the same houses and artwork together. So we'd have this code we'd use, Enigma would be like a house with a pool, and a secret thing would be like, oh, I found a baseball card that nobody else could. Anyway, that's the kind of language we use, and I don't have any of that stuff anymore. But yeah, this is a totally innocuous message. It's just a silly old chummy thing. He could have said that. He didn't. Instead, Donald Trump says, this letter destroys my reputation. He is confirming that the contents of that letter implicate him in Epstein's sex trafficking ring.
Yeah, I hope you watched the videos and you saw how everything transpired. They said a particular document was this, that everybody thought that Trump was responsible for a transfer of social amounts in just one bank, and then they even linked it to other banks in Russia and all of that. But let me tell you the truth. Let me say my own. I really do not think that this thing is real. To be honest, I really don't believe it. That this whole transfer-ish is real. I don't know why. Let me give you one candid reason why I won't even believe all of this transfer shit. Okay, I won't believe this because Trump is a businessman. So he has always referred to Epstein as his friend, right? So it's possible they did businesses, but right? And again, if this whole thing is real, why didn't Biden use it against him? That's what me I'll say. Why did Biden and Kamala Harris not use this as a very big tool? I don't know if somebody else there is thinking what I'm thinking, but I want to hear it in the comment section. Do you think this whole thing is real? Do you think this shit is real? And what do you think is going to turn out to be like? Right now, oh my God, I'm so sorry for you guys. But you guys are beginning to look quite stupid, to be honest. But then, let me see your comments in the comment section, right? If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe, like, and share my videos, please, to encourage a young creator like me, right? Please do not forget to turn on your notification button and always come back here to watch my videos till the end. I'll be back with the next big and better video. Thank you so much for always supporting me. I appreciate it. Bye, guys.